Hello friends, welcome in this video. Today in this video we will try to understand the poem The Last Ride Together by Robert Browning. First I will read the text and then I will try to explain what Robert Browning is trying to tell us, say us. If you have any queries, you can write in the comment box or you can directly send me a message. The Last Ride Together. I said, then, dearest, since it is so, since now at length my fate I know, since nothing all my love avails, since all my life seemed meant for fails, since this was written and needs must be, my whole heart rises up to bless your name in pride and thankfulness. Take back the hope you gave, I claim only a memory of the same, and this beside, if you will not blame, your leave for one more last ride with me. The speaker in this dramatic monologue is a lover who has been rejected, presumably after entertaining hopes for some time of winning his beloved. He had at last come to know as a certainty that his love was not to be returned by his beloved. Love has been the directing principle of his life, and now that his love for her had failed in its purpose of winning her heart, his life seemed to have lost its meaning and value. He undespairingly accepts the situation as having been ordained by fate. What is destined cannot be altered, and he does not blame anyone for it. Indeed, he blesses the lady from the bottom of his heart, for he is proud to have had the privilege of loving her. He is thankful for the experience and for having enjoyed her company for so long. He is ready to give up the hope of getting his beloved, but he requests that he can keep his memory of love and that she should come with him for a last ride together. The lover says at last, as if he is ready to accept, I said then, dearest, since it is so, as it has been decided by you, it has been, you have made your mind up, since now at length my fate I know, and after this period of time which I have spent in loving you, now at finally I know my fate, that I will not be able to win your heart, since nothing all my love avails, and my love has failed. There has not been any gain for my love, as I am not able to win your heart, since all my life seemed meant for fails, and as I have nothing else in my life, the purpose of my life, the lover says, was to love you, is to love you actually, but now as you have rejected, it seems the purpose of my life is failure. The hope has been in vain. Since this was written and needs must be, my whole heart rises up to bless. And since the, it is written, my I know my fate, my whole heart rises up to bless. The poet, the lover is not disheartened in the sense that he is able to bless his beloved, your name in pride and thankfulness. Take back the hope you gave, I claim, only a memory of the same. You are taking back the hope that once you gave me of winning your heart, you are taking it back. But I claim now the lover is saying that he claims only a memory of the same, but he wants a memory of the love he has for the beloved. And this, beside, if you will not blame, the poet says, if you don't think it as an improper demand from me, your leave for one last ride with me. Can you go with me for a last ride together as a token of memory, as a token of the memory of the love I have for you? In the next stanza, the poet says, my mistress bent that brow of hers, that those deep, dark eyes where pride demurs, when pity would be softening through, fixed me a breathing while or two, with love, with life or death in the balance, right. The blood replenished me again. My last thought was at least not vain. I and my mistress, side by side, shall be together, breathe and ride. So one day more am I defied. Who knows but the world may end tonight? The rejected lover has requested his beloved for a last ride together. The lady seemed undecided. Her deep dark eyes expressed a conflict. Her pride seemed to protest against the request, while pity softened her eyes, for it was his last request. As he hesitated, the lover stood paralyzed, for his very fate hung in the balance. To him, her answer was a matter of life and death. If she accepted, he would be getting a new lease of life. If she refused, it would mean death. The lady at last granted him his request, and he seemed to live once again. The blood, which seems to have drained out of his system with the fear of possible refusal, now recirculated. Life and animation were restored along with relief by her favorable reply. At least his last hope had not been vain. He would have a last ride with her. Now he and his beloved would ride and breathe side by side. He would enjoy the bliss of her company for one more day and achieve God ahead. Love would sanctify him. With great optimism, the lover declares that for all one knows, the world might end that very night. If doomdays come while they were riding together side by side, he would enjoy the bliss eternally. His rejection in this case would have no relevance, and he would lose nothing because of it. The lover is manly, brave, and optimistic, believes in the immortality of the soul like a typical Browning character. In the third stanza, the poet says, hush, if you saw some western cloud, all billowy, bosomed overboard by many benedictions, suns and moons and evening stars at once, and so you, looking and loving best, conscious crew, your passion drew, cloud, sunset, moonrise, starshine too, down on you, near and more near, till flesh must fade, for heaven was here. Thus leant she and lingered, joy and fear. Thus lay she a moment on my breast. The lover expresses the intense joy which he felt when his beloved leant against his breast for a moment just before commencing on the last ride. He felt a moment of heavenly ecstasy. He uses a highly imaginative image to convey his feeling. Suppose a man looks at a cloud in the western sky in the evening, surging and swelling like a sea wave. The cloud is radiant with the light of the sun, moon, and evening star. The light of the sun, moon, and star seems to be blessing, which fill the billowing cloud. The observer looks on and grows more and more sensitive to the glory of the heavens. The intensity of his passion is so overwhelmingly strong that it seems to draw the cloud, sun, moon, and stars closer towards him till he feels that heavens has come down to him. At such a moment, the man loses all senses of the material world, falls into a trance, and experiences a heavenly bliss. His very body seems to have melted away and liberated his soul. Such was the heavenly bliss which the lover felt as his beloved laid her head against his breast for a while. It seemed as if his intense passion had drawn her, and by implication heaven, to him. But mixed with the bliss is the fear that the moment would be too short lived and the beloved would soon move away. The imagery is beautifully imaginative. There is also a deep emotional quality in these lines. These lines are very lyrical in nature, and we see that the personal feeling and the softness of a lyric is well represented by Browning. Thank you.